All right, so we'll just cut it from here. And today we're interviewing Sammy, a young filmmaker who lives in Montreal, Canada. I met him
Hmm.
on a travel excursion a few weeks ago, and he gladly or graciously um, took my invite to do an interview. So we're going to interview him about his movie that he just shot. So tell us your age and where you're from.
I'm actually 22 years old, and I'm from Montreal. But my parents are from North Africa, so they born in Nigeria. They came here 30 years ago, and I grew up in Montreal. So yeah, I'm born in Canada basically.
Wow. Okay. Fascinating. So what's the name of your film and where did you shoot it?
The name of the film is 514, and I shot it pretty much at Montreal and around Montreal, like Laval, which is kind of the New Jersey of Canada. So, Montreal, yeah, yeah, Montreal and Laval. So, because I'm living in Laval, so I knew some spot in the neighborhood that I wanted to shoot, and I knew Montreal pretty well. So I wanted to represent the city while I was doing the movie. That's what it's calling 514. Yeah, that's the number of the movie, of
Oh,
the city.
awesome. All right. So the name of your film one more time so they know.
What 514.
514. Okay. And what was the budget for your film?
Um, yeah, it was pretty big, man. It was around 50K, I think.
And that is Canadian dollars?
Yeah, yeah. I was working, did a loan on the bank. Some people helped me funding it. So yeah,
Wow. So where did most of the money go? Did you pay your actors? Did you pay your crew? Did you rent
uh,
equipment?
most of the money have been to the production, and like 1% have been to the actors when we're like the actor weren't paid, But if like I needed an actor and he was working, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pay you, but just take off your work. Like it could happen sometime that I'm paying actors, but no, most of the time it was mostly the crew and the location and the food, which was pretty expensive.
Okay. All right. So you negotiated that with the actors up front. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
most times they did it for free.
that is awesome. And most of the time that's how an independent film works. A lot of
Hmm.
people are just doing it for experience, or they might
Yeah,
negotiate something on the back end where if the movie is very successful, then the profits will be set aside.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so, how much time did it take to develop the idea and shoot the film?
Well, the idea came because I started back in 2016, 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was writing the movie by myself. Then a friend of mine who was in the production, who is an actor in the movie, helped me with the story. It took about a year. Then after that, I thought I was ready to shoot. So I was like, okay, fuck it. Let's just start shooting in 3 months. So I
Yeah.
started shooting after 3 months. It was pretty hard, but I think with time, I get time to upgrade myself. I mean,
Yep.
I
Yep.
just did it with the flow.
I love what you just said. Um, that's kind of inspirational with independent films. If you just keep waiting and waiting for the right time, it'll never happen. When it comes to filmmaking and becoming a filmmaker, you just have to do it. You just have to make a film. You can't wait for the perfect time. There was another interview with Will Packer, now very successful producer, and his first film was in college, and he kept waiting and waiting, doing fundraising, and no matter what, it was just taking so long. It didn't seem like he was going to get to his goal. So eventually, him and his partner basically said, "Let's just shoot it with the money that we've already gotten, because if we wait for the 2 million, we'll never shoot it." So the fundraising that they initially got, they used that, and he shot one of his first films. I think it was Trois, and it did very well on the independent circuit. And then from there, he was off to the races. Um, how big was your production crew?
It wasn't that big. I had an AD that became a producer because he helped me like with the money managing.
Hmm.
I had my DOP, the sound guy, and I was the director, producer, and writer. So wasn't a big crew, you know.
Wow, you wore all those hats. You were the director, producer, and writer.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but co-writer actually, because my friend wrote the story with me. But yeah, most of I wrote the story and he wrote the script with me.
Okay. And that's awesome too
Yeah.
because I think that
But I think. Oh, do you hear me?
yep, I hear you. Um,
Okay. I
that's
think what I learned about. Hmm?
Oh, yep. I was just going to add to that that hey, um, when you're making an independent film and you're starting, you're going to do a lot of the different functions and roles that a big production would just pay someone to do. You're just going to
Yeah.
have to roll up your sleeves and take on that responsibility. So, usually with independent films, you wear a lot of hats. I know with mine, I was the we did the story by. We wound up just getting a guy to actually write it, and then I produced it, used my equipment, and eventually I had to be in the film because again we didn't have enough people volunteering, so I had to act, and at night I was
Okay.
editing. So yeah, you wear a lot of hats with a film production.
Yeah, and I think like uh now I'm gonna take my time like eventually for other project, but I think 514 helped me know if I wanted to be a filmmaker, and now I know I do.
Great. So what type of camera did you use to shoot the film?
It was a Sony A7S. Do you know? Do you know it?
Yes, I'm very familiar with it.
Yeah.
Industry
uh,
standard for independent filmmakers.
yeah, exactly. And it was a 4K camera.
Did you
Uh,
did you shoot in 4K?
yeah, I shoot it 4K.
Awesome. So you're gonna have great high resolution. Are you going to um, actually edit in 4K? Or are you gonna down res it down to HD?
Now we're on the editing process. I haven't asked that to my editor, but he didn't tell me anything about that yet. So,
Okay.
uh, for my guess, I think we're staying 4K for now. We're on
Uh,
the editing session now, so it's pretty. Yeah, it took 2 years to like actually shoot the movie. It took from September 2017 to July 2018. Then after that, we took a break and we start editing on January.
okay. Awesome. Wow, that is a long time. Um,
Yeah,
what
you gotta be patient.
what type of microphone did you use, and what type of lighting?
We most of the lighting weren't from the studios. They were from natural lighting like the sun or sometimes cell phone. And
Smart.
if we really needed the lighting, then yeah, like my DOP would just bring his light from like his house, and we were using it. If the scene like were big and it would taking time to shoot, and you needed some lighting, you know.
Right, exactly. And that's there you go. I love that you mentioned, a lot of natural lighting. Sometimes you just got to use what you got. And with independent
Hmm.
filmmaking, that's usually what you do. So let's get more into the film. What is the film about, or what message were you trying to convey, or what is the story or central theme in your film?
Okay, let's start with the story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, it's a story about two guys. One is named Juniors, a Haitian guy from Montreal, and his best friend is Carlos, which is he's a Latino. And what's happening to the story is that Carlos have a cousin that is selling drugs, having trouble, having problems. And what's happening in the movie is that the guy actually owns money from some dangerous people,
Mm-hmm.
and Carlos doesn't have a good life. He's poor. He doesn't have money. He just lost his jobs, and he kind of have the opportunity to help his cousin because one of the wise guy came to his house and say, "Yo, your cousin owe us some money, so tell him to get his ass up because something bad is gonna happen if you don't. If he is not, he's gonna get in trouble. And he's not
Okay.
to get a job at the street.
Okay.
And three of his friend, Junior, Ibrahim, and Jordan, he tells them like, "Yo, why don't we do that?" Because each of them, like Junior, is a rich guy. He's like a Tony Stark of the movie.
Yeah.
He doesn't really care. And the
Uh-huh.
others doesn't have that much of money because their family have problems. Like one he got problem with his brother because he owed money to his apartment, and the others want to start a business. So everybody have an interest of making money faster.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, okay, let's try it. And the goal of movie isn't to see how gangster look, but psychologically, like when you're going home, when you talk about being on the street with other people, how does it looks like? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel? If bad shit happen, how are you gonna feel about it? Like if you don't see what's happening with the gangster, then what's happening with you? Like you alone and you with your friends. See what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. It sounds exciting. I love how you created an inciting moment where something happened where all of a sudden your main character has to make a decision and go into action to
Yeah,
save other
exactly.
people or help himself. I love what you did. It sounds like a sympathetic character, somebody that a lot of people can identify with. Everyone knows what it's like to struggle or to want more in life. So definitely, I think you got a sympathetic hero right there.
Exactly, because I think if I can give you an example, like I love gangster movies, but the only thing I never saw in the gangster movies was that like we never have the time to explore characters outside of the gangsters, outside of the mafia. It's always with them, how he acts with them, but not outside of it.
Right.
So I thought I could take that perspective outside of it and see like what it
That's
looks.
that's great. One show that did kind of explore that perspective was a TV series called The Sopranos, where yes, you got to see the mobster out in the streets, but then you got to also see, okay, there's the other side where he's somebody's father and he's a family man and he has to deal with relatives and yeah, so yeah, that's a great take. It sounds exciting. So what language is your film in?
French, English, Spanish, and a bit of Arabs. Like
Oh
what?
wow, that's gonna be wow. You're gonna cater to a wide variety, a huge audience. That's cool.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like Inglourious Bastard.
so let me know. What did you learn from this experience as far as shooting your film? Uh, what,
um,
what type of
I think
education did you get from just going in there and shooting a film?
I think what I learned was like how do I like I think what I learned was that I need to take my time for my other project, whether it take 3 years to do it, 4 years. I think I learned also that because I was trying to learn like how to direct proper actors, and I think what I learned is that you need to take your time with your actors. You need to be specific, and if you start with a project, because my project have so many actors, we had 8 actors, you know, that's a lot. That's a real lot, and I think for the future, I want to have less actor so I
Uh-huh.
can direct better because sometimes you have 6 actor on set and you try to be specific and like the fact that I didn't have experience, some people didn't listen to me and I was always fighting with them. And I think
Right.
well, that I need to choose my actor more wisely next time. But my two principal actors, I'm lucky because those guys were the best actor I worked with, and those guys are like the De Niro and Joe Pesci, and I'm like their Scorsese. Like I felt we're gonna work together again, so that was great. And other actors from my movie that I know I'm gonna call back, like I feel that the actor who listened to me were the best actor when I saw the editing. I don't think it's a coincidence, but that's just me. So the best thing I can tell you is you need to take your time with your actor. You need to choose your actors. You need to be with them. Like you're like a father to them when you when you're a director.
Wow, that is great insight. Great insight. We always talk about that in class too. I love that you mentioned that there's definitely a power struggle and power dynamic on set, and the more you more experience you get as a director, the the easier it'll be establishing authority. But of course, your first film, you're right. You have a lot of power struggle, um, and plus, if you have people volunteering, they kind of feel like, well, I should have a say because I'm giving you my time for free. So yeah, there's a lot of politics. I think also you brought up a great point that casting is probably one of the most important parts of the process. You got to make sure you choose talented actors and the right people for the job. It just makes the job a lot easier if you have somebody who's talented and professional and someone that you can just get along with. Um, and then I think you're right. In the future, it's about relationships. You're going to probably have relationships with these people for a long time, and
Hmm.
it's gonna lead to other productions that basically, you know, define you guys as a that defines you guys as a team. And
Yeah,
in the future,
exactly.
people are going to be like, oh, wow, have you seen, and they'll name all, yourself and all the other actors involved. Have you seen their new project? And so people are just going to think of you guys as a power team in the future because that relationship, you're right, will last. So, what are you going to do when your film is finished? Are you going to put it in festivals or what are your
Yeah,
plans?
my plan will be that I'll send it to Fantasia. Uh, I hope Toronto Film Festival and some other festival in Montreal. Our goal and me and my editor will be to send the movie to Fantasia in summer 2020s next year. Let's hope we're done the movie by Christmas and by the by the end of the year max we'll hope to send it or 2021 max. But that's our goal. It's to send to like Toronto Film Festival or Fantasia, which one of the biggest festival in Canada.
That's cool. All right, one last question before we wrap up. What advice do you have for aspiring filmmakers? A lot of these students are going to be watching you. Of course, they might not have shot a film yet, and they're debating on getting into the industry. What advice do you have for them?
Uh, my advice would be like take your time. Uh, you want to start with a big project, you can, but just be sure that you have the right budget. Choose your actor wisely. If you feel your DOP isn't listening to you, don't choose it. Don't take any risk, and try to listen when people is talking to you. And don't think because you're the director that you have a say to everything because you want to be the boss. Like trying to learn from others instead of trying to be someone else. Like trying to copy Tarantino or Scorsese just because you're the director, everybody's gonna listen to you. Try to listen before people are listening to you.
Great advice. Great advice. Well, we'll wrap up. I just want to thank you for your time.
Thanks, man.
In the future, I'm sure the students will definitely check out your film. And then in the future, hopefully, we'll do a live video chat with the class where they'll get to ask you questions once your film comes out. And I look forward to seeing it myself. Hopefully, definitely send me some behind the scenes footage or pictures if you have it. And
Mm-hmm.
we'll be able to share that also. But once again, this is Sammy. Name of your film again?
514.
514. Hopefully, will come out in 2020. Look for it. And again, I want to thank you for your time and best of luck.
I got a question before you wrap up.
Yep.
uh,
No worries.
um, I hope I have a distributor next year, and when I have a copy of the movie, I'll give it to you so you can show you starting eventually.
Oh, great.
We can see each other.
Very, wow. We appreciate that. Very appreciative. Yeah. Take your time when you're ready, when you have something that you feel comfortable with for the viewing public to see. We can't wait. So definitely we can have a little screening, and then after the screening, we'll get to actually have an interview with you. Hopefully, a follow up after the students see it. They can ask you questions about the characters. They can ask you what certain scenes meant, and they can also ask you what went into the behind the scenes of making the film. That'll be really cool. I'm kind of excited about that.
All right, cool, man. So thanks a lot for the interview, bro.
All right, thank you, and we look forward to seeing it in the future.
Yeah, for sure. You have a good day, man.
You too. Bye.